Part 36. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 351. Although the Yanguo group only had 300 people, their nature was completely different. With just one round of concentrated fire from the ranged profession, the HP of the blood tree dropped by 1/3. The blood tree clearly felt threatened and trembled violently. Suddenly, its huge body disappeared under everyone's eyes. Yanguo rode a snow wolf and rushed over. Seeing this, he stopped abruptly, his eyes flashing with gloomy light, disappeared. Archer. The team's archers were of extremely high quality. He didn't even need to speak, he just looked over intently, and his sharp eagle eyes could see through all invisibility. However, wherever they looked, except for the thick smoke, there was no trace of the blood tree. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Among all the people present, the only one who could see the blood tree was Ye Chen. Because Ye Chen had a pair of fashion glasses, Goblin Miracle Detection glasses. The effect of this fashion is even better than the eagle eye, because the eagle eye can only see through invisibility, but not camouflage. Where Ye Chen's eyes pointed, he saw the huge shadow of the blood tree on a bowl-sized piece of gravel. Of course, even without the Goblin Miracle Reconnaissance Eye, players can see the invisibility or camouflage of their teammates. Now, Ye Chen and the blood tree are a team. Can't see it, the archers shouted, and then said, maybe the giant tree summon was collected by Ye Chen in some way. Not necessarily. Hearing this, Yanguo smiled grimly. In addition to invisibility, there is also camouflage. Fire. Everyone was slightly stunned, and the fire magic reacted faster, igniting the sea of fire in an instant. The next moment, the entire battlefield was covered by the sea of fire again, and the gravel was transformed in the flames, and its body suddenly swelled, and the blood tree was forced to appear. Captain is mighty. Seeing the sea of fire forcing the blood tree out, everyone was stunned for a moment, and then shouted in surprise. Yanguo grinned and ordered another attack, and the blood tree's HP decreased again. Since the arrival of Yanguo's group, the other players in the dark camp automatically retreated. Because they know they can't help at all, and sometimes they even make things worse. Because of this, the blood tree can't kill ordinary players and suck blood for supply. It can only wave its branches to attack the Yanguo team. The blood tree has extremely high intelligence. It knows that its single target damage is limited and can't cause huge damage to shield warriors and berserkers, so it aims at the long-range squishy that is attacking it. However, the Yanguo team showed amazing quality. Seeing dozens of branches whipping like tentacles, the shield warriors immediately stepped forward to block, and the muffled sound of clang clang kept rising and falling. However, no one in the Yanguo team died. Entangle. The blood tree controls the branches and changes from hitting to grabbing. Unfortunately, the archers and mages are standing behind the shield warriors, and the arrows and fireballs are to scare the branches away. When the opponent focuses on fire, the blood tree's HP drops wildly, and it can't get supplies, and it drops to 1/2 for a while. At this time, the blood tree panicked and trembled as never before. Don't be afraid, Sushu Ye Chen comforted him and rushed out. His decisive and extremely confident attitude made Sushu relax a little. When Ye Chen rushed forward, the first thing he encountered was many berserkers who were attacking from all directions. At this time, blowing fire was useless, so Ye Chen put away the torch, took out the red flame dagger, and activated the blood blade. Roar! In the majestic war cry, the two sides fought fiercely together. The berserkers attacked from all directions, but as soon as they approached Ye Chen used the blade storm, and then cleared the combo points and turned it into a destruction storm. Ye Chen turned into a battle gyroscope, spinning in place for 1 second, and then shot hundreds of flaming darts, sweeping indiscriminately in all directions. Puff puff puff. The muffled sound rose and fell, and the berserkers were surrounded by such dense flaming darts, and they couldn't hide even if they wanted to. They were hit by the darts for a while and fell to the ground dead. Hiss! The spectators and the Yanguo team all gasped. They were all stunned by Ye Chen's terrifying methods. Oh my god, what a big spinning top! I can play with this spinning top for a year. Nonsense, it's not the blade storm that's powerful, but the destruction storm. Because Ye Chen's rotation speed is fast, the number of darts increases. More importantly, any dart that hits a person will cause more than 10,000 damage, which is a complete kill, no negotiation. Look, Ye Chen rushed out again. That spinning top is so damn fast. Damn, isn't the blade storm supposed to slow down? He played it to speed up. Amid the screams of the crowd, Ye Chen kept moving, maintaining the spinning top posture, and rushed out. Wherever he passed, it was like a heavy motorcycle running over, plowing deep gullies. The speed of Ye Chen's blade storm was very fast, more than 3 times the speed of ordinary thieves. The spectators blinked a little, and Ye Chen swept 10 yards. Within this 10-yard range, countless flaming darts were spinning. Fortunately, there was no one there, otherwise they would probably be shot to death. When they thought of this, their scalps went numb, and their fear of Ye Chen in their hearts increased to the extreme. Suddenly, the gyroscope seemed to hit something, and a circle of ice mist sprayed out from the ground, freezing the gyroscope. Ha ha! Accompanied by a wild laugh, Yanguo rode the Snow Wolf King and appeared in the area 10 yards in front of the gyroscope. In the other 4 directions, the space fluctuated, and Yanguo's other 4 pets appeared: elephant, tiger, deer, and snake. They were all huge monsters, and with Yanguo riding the Snow Wolf King, they surrounded the gyroscope in a 5-pointed star formation. Yanguo's Snow Wolf King is not an ordinary snow wolf, but a Snow Shadow Wolf King. In addition to being able to turn invisible, it can even turn Yanguo and the other 4 pets into invisible state. Earlier, while Ye Chen was strangling the berserkers, Yanguo turned invisible and quietly released a freezing trap. He had already predicted that Ye Chen would rush over, and now it was true. Ye Chen turned into a gyroscope and crashed into the trap, and was frozen. Ye Chen, you are finished. Yanguo's pupils widened, with a morbid hideous look. At this moment, Ye Chen's firm will and resurrection were banned. Yanguo led the pets to focus fire, and it must be killed instantly. Before attacking, Yanguo glanced at the blood tree and saw that it still had 1/3 of its health left, and snorted immediately. This is not the result he wanted. What he really wanted was to kill the blood tree first, and then kill Ye Chen. But now that he has frozen Ye Chen, he will not let him go. After all, he has seen Ye Chen's strength and dare not underestimate him. With a whoosh, Yanguo took the crossbow and shot an arrow at the ice. The pets also rioted and attacked, but at this moment, they moved instantly. Ye Chen has detection glasses, so whether Yanguo is invisible or not is of no use to him. Everything that Yanguo has arranged for his invisibility is under his control. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 352. Since Yanguo had painstakingly laid a freezing trap, how could I go against his wishes? Ye Chen, with a joking attitude, deliberately fell into the trap. Of course, he sent Xiao He first to approach the enemy's holy word mage. Instant transfer. Ye Chen exchanged positions with Xiao He and appeared in front of the holy word mage in an instant. In the opponent's horrified eyes, Ye Chen suddenly attacked, and the blood-red blade slashed down. The holy word mage died, and Ye Chen's banned firm will and resurrection were naturally lifted. Ye Chen killed the holy word mage with a casual knife, and the damage made everyone exclaim, it was just an ordinary attack, but it actually dealt more than 40,000 damage. However, they didn't know that this was only the damage of Ye Chen alone. If Xiao He was superimposed, the damage would double. Breaking the martial arts. With a bang, Yechen broke a garbage dagger abruptly, and a golden and red light appeared all over his body. This was obviously the overlord, so, in the eyes of everyone's horror, Yechen danced wildly, and blood splashed wherever the blood blade passed. Stun and final blow. Shock Star. Yechen rarely used the finishing move of Shock Star, which was an enhanced version of stun, with a group stun effect. And Yechen had basically killed instantly along the way, so the group stun effect was useless. However, now, Yechen's damage has exploded, and the Shock Star was activated, shaking the earth and mountains, and all the players within a 10-yard radius were killed. You know, Shock Star is a group control skill, and the output percentage of this kind of skill is extremely low, but Yechen's basic is too high, so he raised the damage. Just a control skill? Yechen played a one-shot kill effect. Everyone exclaimed, and the group was killed by dozens of people in an instant by Yechen. The formation collapsed, and fled in a panic. Yechen sneered, picked up the knife and chased, and continued to kill. On the other side, Yanguo rode on the Snow Shadow Wolf King, and a crossbow arrow hit the ice, but it directly shattered the ice. Of course there was no one inside, because Yechen and Xiaohe had exchanged positions. At this time, Yanguo realized that something was wrong, and then the four pets pounced down, obviously missing again. When Yanguo reacted, Yechen had killed dozens of people and continued to chase. Even when being controlled, Yechen still has the means of teleportation, which is incredible. Yanguo was also shocked. Now Yechen escaped and killed the Holy Word Mage. In other words, all his previous arrangements became a joke. Damn guy, Yanguo roared in frustration and rushed out. At this time, Yechen was like a death god who could not be shaken off, constantly chasing the enemy and killing them in seconds. More than 10 seconds later, the blade storm cooled down, and Yechen directly released the final move Destruction Storm, killing hundreds of people again in seconds. At this point, the Yanguo team was annihilated. In the end, there were less than 50 people, and they had already escaped. Of course, Yanguo did not escape. He rode the Snow Shadow Wolf King and faced Yechen head-on. The other four pets surrounded Yechen in a square. Swamp Trap. Yanguo's hands appeared earthy yellow, and he pressed down, and the ground originally made of stones turned into a muddy swamp. System, you are in a swamp trap, and your movement speed is minus 70%. Yechen was in the swamp, and his feet felt heavy, and then the system prompt came to his ears. Yechen sneered, spread his snake wings and flew up, so that the swamp trap would be ineffective against him. Swoosh, swoosh. Yanguo's expression was fierce, holding a crossbow, and shot rapidly. However, Yechen was faster, dodged quickly, and flew down, slashing the giant elephant with a knife. Dash. A huge damage appeared, and the giant elephant screamed and fell down. And Yechen's body quickly turned into a residual image, and he teleported behind the white snake. Shadow attack. Just now, Yechen killed the giant elephant in 1 second, but it was just the precondition of shadow attack. Damn, a precondition of shadow attack actually caused nearly 100,000 damage. The audience, many of whom were experts, saw everything clearly and exclaimed. Yanguo was also shocked. The next moment, Yechen raised his sword and struck down, and a normal attack dealt 60,000 damage, killing the white snake in 1 second. His normal attack kills Lord-level pets in 1 second. Yechen is unstoppable. The audience gasped, and before they knew it, everyone had a bitter smile on their lips. Yechen was too powerful and terrifying. Under the absolute damage, even a king like Yanguo would be powerless to save the situation. Sure enough, just as everyone expected, Yechen killed Yanguo's 2 pets in 1 second. Shadow. The Snow Shadow Wolf King let out a desolate roar, and his figure quickly dimmed, and he and Yanguo were in the shadows. However, Yechen had the Goblin Miracle, detection glasses. In his eyes, Yan Guo's invisibility was nothing but a joke. Ye Chen stood calmly, with a faint smile on his lips. In his sight, Yan Guo riding the Snow Shadow Wolf King was actually lurking and rushing towards him. With a sneer, Ye Chen then threw a dart, poof, hitting the Snow Shadow Wolf King, dash. Huge damage appeared on his head, and the Snow Shadow Wolf King's life quickly passed away. He screamed and fell to the ground, and Yan Guo also rolled down in embarrassment. Impossible, this is impossible. Yan Guo roared in disbelief. He was too unwilling. As a king, he was already in the Chinese war zone, and even the entire game server, which was the top of the pyramid. But Ye Chen teased him. In despair, Ye Chen rushed over and stabbed Yan Guo away with a knife. This scene moved everyone present, but they were so shocked that they didn't know what to say. Ye Chen was just the champion of the light camp of the martial arts competition, and there was no king in the light camp, so when Ye Chen first came, he was not taken seriously. But now, he killed Yan Guo head-on, which proved his strength. For a while, everyone was in an uproar. On the other side, Ye Chen was also very refreshed and couldn't help laughing out loud. After coming to the dark camp, Ye Chen's strength has grown explosively. To be honest, he didn't expect this. A few days ago, facing the pressure of the king, Ye Chen was eager to increase his damage. His original plan was 1. Promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, LV2 Dochi. 2. Promoted to Intermediate Evangelist, further improve the firepower. 3. If there is a chance, change to a better dagger. However, before he could achieve these 3 points, he got the Heart of Sin first. Using the terrifying sin value, he increased his damage. His current damage was already off the charts, and to be honest, it was not that important whether those 3 points were achieved or not. After a while, Ye Chen restrained his swollen emotions and attacked again. Everyone screamed in fear and fled in all directions. Ye Chen chased them all the way, and blood flowed like a river. Suddenly, heavy snow fell from the sky. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 353. Snowflakes fell from the sky, making Ye Chen's killing scene seem romantic. Ye Chen wandered in the snow, chasing after him wantonly. Suddenly there was a bang, and the crystal popped up again in the center of Xiwan village. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. But this time, everyone was really afraid of Ye Chen. They looked at the crystal with greed and did not dare to rush over. This was an advantage for Ye Chen. With a slight smile, Ye Chen rushed over and exploded the crystal in 2 or 3 blows. The broken crystal reorganized in an instant, condensed again, and was once again engraved with Ye Chen's ID. Xiwan village took on a new look again, and Ye Chen continued to slaughter. 10 minutes later, it was snowy, and Ye Chen could see no one in Xiwan village. No one dared to rush over? Am I really so scary? Ye Chen chuckled, walked in the snow, walked over and patted the blood tree. At this time, Ye Chen's meritorious service reached around 150,000, which was still far away from the Lieutenant Colonel's 500,000 meritorious service. Although he is now promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, the increase in LV2 fighting spirit will not be much. But since he is here today, he naturally wants to be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. Now that there are no enemies in sight in Xiwan village, Ye Chen wants to march into other villages. Shueshu, we will split up next, Ye Chen said. Now that he has the blowing fire, he does not rely on the blood tree's group attack. If the two are separated, the merit points will be earned faster. There is no danger for the blood tree to act alone. Even an eagle's eye can't see through its camouflage. Yan Guo had previously pulled out the blood tree in a special scene with the attitude of giving it a try. In ordinary battles, the chance of this was not high. And to say the least, even if the blood tree is in danger, Yechen can use team teleportation to force it over. Okay, Master Blood Tree responded. Immediately, Yechen took Xiaohong and separated from Xueshu and walked away. A few hours later, Yechen captured 13 villages and 7 small towns one after another. During this period, more than 100,000 people were slaughtered. Adding in the Blood Tree's military exploits, Yechen's meritorious service had reached 420,000. Every time Yechen captures a village or small town, a broadcast from the main city will be triggered. The word Yechen is like a nightmare, remembered by the entire Dark Camp players. Yechen's deeds have been widely spread on major game forums and post bars. In the evening, 8:30. Yechen went offline and came out of the game warehouse. After tidying up a little, he went downstairs to have dinner. It's snowing in the game today, did you see it? Yechen casually found a topic to talk about while eating. No, it's almost the Chinese New Year. It's warm in Linhai City, but it's already snowing in other places. At the entire dinner table, only Tank replied to him, while everyone else looked at Yechen as if they were monsters. The monkey sighed and finally couldn't help but said, "It's amazing. Yechen, your deeds in the Dark Camp have shocked the whole country. You can still act like a normal person, I admire you." Huo Wu sighed directly, stretched out his hand to rub his smooth forehead, and sighed helplessly, "Yechen, how high is your sin level?" Along the way, Yechen's achievements have far exceeded Huo Wu's imagination. But she is a conservative and is always worried that Yechen will poke a hole in the sky. Just like Yechen's guilt value, Huo Wu mentioned it more than once, although Yechen saved the day every time. But Huo Wu still couldn't help but worry. Now that Yechen is very powerful, in her opinion, the best way is to play slowly and steadily. Now that Yechen has increased his crime value again, he is in danger again. Although Yechen is a major, even if Hongming is killed and imprisoned, his sentence will be greatly reduced. Moreover, his NPC subordinates can even help him complete crime reduction tasks. Taken together as a whole, even if Yechen is really imprisoned, his number will not be cancelled. But it won't be coming out anytime soon. And now is the critical period of opening up the country map, that is, Zhaihesia. If Yechen goes to jail, the throne's position will be very embarrassing. 160,000 Yechen chuckled. What? Everyone exclaimed, and with a clang, the roasted hoof fell from Tank's hand. His face was blank, his mouth was wide open, and his face was filled with an expression of extreme shock. 160,000 yuan is worth a crime. If you are killed and imprisoned, a little crime is worth an hour in jail. Even if the small change is wiped out, he will still be jailed for 18 years. 18 years, it's like sitting in jail until the game server is shut down. Everyone was so frightened that they almost jumped up, but Yechen still looked calm, which made them angry just looking at him. Although Yechen is a major, his sentence will be reduced if he goes to jail, but for 18 years, how far can the sentence be reduced? It's still a useless number. You're so careless. This guy is so lawless. Huo Wu slapped herself on the cheek, dumbfounded. Now that she had opened the country map, she gradually relaxed her vigilance about Yechen's sinfulness. She didn't expect that this guy had gone too far. Wait. Suddenly, Huo Wu seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Yechen, how come you have so many sin points? Killing Dark Camp players won't increase your sin points, right?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned and came to their senses instantly. They had all browsed online videos or pictures of Yechen massacring Dark Camp players before, and they saw the red name above Yechen's head, which was so red that it almost turned black. That's why they were curious about Yechen's sin value. But then again, killing players in the enemy camp will not generate sin value at all. So, Where did Yechen's 160,000 sin value come from? Under the almost staring eyes of the crowd, Yechen smiled helplessly, slowly talked about the heart of sin, the hell suit, and the fact that he could easily wash sin value in hell, and said with a smile, my basic attack power has reached more than 30,000 now. A normal attack can do about 200,000 or 300,000 damage. For the finishing move, it can do millions of damage. Huowu. Kitten. Shenkaijin. Shaoro. Monkey. Fatty. Tank, ha ha. Everyone looked dull and scared, but Tank laughed like crazy. Then, he had a nervous breakdown and poured the water spinach in front of him onto his head, the vegetables and the soup were all over his head. Pucci. Tank was like a lunatic, laughing so hard. Normal attacks deal 200,000 or 300,000 damage, skills deal millions of damage, illusion, it must be an illusion. If it were in the past, everyone would have burst out laughing if Tank acted like this, but this time, everyone's expression was dull. It seemed that they hadn't recovered from the shock yet. Indeed, this couldn't be blamed on them. It was all because Yechen was too abnormal. He was only level 45 and he dealt millions of damage. He was simply not a human being. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 354. In the later stage, high-end players can inflict millions of damage with one move, which is nothing at all. But now, the average level of players is only level 40, and some people are doing millions of damage, which is extremely abnormal. Searched Can on Google. Yechen smiled and said, so, you don't have to worry about me being killed and imprisoned. Now I will kill everyone I see instantly. In the face of absolute damage, even a king is vulnerable. Perhaps, an ice controller like Lan Yan is more restrained against Yechen. But Yechen also had Xiao Hei's teleportation and 3 divine escape talismans, so he had nothing to fear. After a while, everyone recovered slightly. After the extreme shock, what was left was ecstasy. With Yechen's current strength, how easy will it be to open up Sci-fi Xia? A country lord might be killed instantly by Yechen. Huowu said excitedly, great, Yechen, the land reclamation of Sci-fi Xia can be stabilized. The first stage of the national copy seems to be in the bag. Yechen nodded and said with a smile, after dinner, I will continue to do a lot of meritorious deeds. I will be promoted to lieutenant colonel in about a few hours. Then I will teleport directly to Sci-fi Xia. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but laugh. When Yechen comes, he will surely lead them to stir up troubles in Sci-fi Xia. Tank, with a face full of juice, suddenly said, wait a minute, do you think such abnormal data will be harmonized? Yechen has a sinful heart, and he can further increase the damage, which may be tens of millions of damage by then. Already. Well, if it goes well in the later stage, it's enough to affect the balance of the game now. Everyone, come and take a look. There are already many people complaining on the official forum. Suddenly the monkey's voice came, and everyone followed the sound, only to see that the monkey had already left the dining table and went to turn on the computer. Everyone walked over and crowded behind the monkey, while the monkey continued to fiddle with the computer and scrolled down the web page at high speed. As expected, many people posted. Planner, what's wrong with you? You're only at level 40 now, and Yagami can kill 80,000 with one sword. How can you still play this game? It's a rubbish game, you can't recharge it, just play with a hammer. Well, I hope to open a mall. Haha, in front of you on the 9507th floor, Yagami stabbed you with a knife of 80,000. When did it happen? I was just stabbed to death by Yagami, with millions of injuries. Complain. Plan and coordinate as soon as possible, otherwise you won't be able to play. Some of them scolded Yuji, some were envious and jealous of Yagami, and some worshipped him, just to name a few. But the most important thing is to complain to the authorities, accusing Yagami's attributes of being too perverted. Everyone was silent. To be fair, after hearing Yechen's story, they knew that Yechen obtained the guilty heart and the hell suit entirely by relying on his own hard power. But at this stage, it does affect the balance a bit. Absolute damage, crushing the king. If the official ignores it, it will definitely hurt the hearts of many players. Yechen was also stunned. Thinking back carefully, since the hell suit was so awesome, few people used it in the previous life. Thinking about it now, it was probably harmonious. You know, Yechen is relatively kind, at least he won't embarrass ordinary people. Because of his sinful heart, he can kill enemy soldiers and obtain sins. But it does not rule out that some people, even if they do not have a sinful heart, can still kill players of the same camp to gain sin points and further increase the damage. In the final analysis, the effect of the hell suit is still too powerful. Well, I feel that the effect of the hell suit will be harmonious. Yechen nodded. Huo Wu smiled bitterly and said, it seems that the official planners did not think of it. Someone has obtained the hell suit so early. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Since the hell set has been protested by many players, the officials cannot ignore it, and most of them want to be harmonious. At this time, Monkey switched to the official forum of another country, and the computer screen was suddenly filled with English. Yechen and others, among them, were not good at English, but they were still a little overwhelmed by the full screen of English, which made them dizzy. Only Monkey, who is proficient in many languages, can interpret it easily. Yechen, it seems you are not the only one who owns the hell suit. Monkey smiled bitterly and said, you only represent China. Other countries have similar existences. The King of South Korea, 230,000 sins. Japan's General, 90,000 sins. George of America, 390,000 sins. John of America, 210,000 sins. Now, not only are Chinese official forums, but other countries are also criticizing. Monkey said, from this point of view, the harmony of the hell suit is a certainty. Even the officials cannot ignore the sensation caused this time. Well, when the data becomes abnormal to a certain extent, it is considered a bug. Harmony is inevitable. Yechen chuckled and said, if I was alone, I would feel a little unhappy, but when I think of someone else accompanying me, I feel balanced. Hearing this, everyone laughed muffledly. Everyone is like this. In the era of keyboard online games, all kinds of plugins are everywhere. Whenever they see someone cheating, people will justly condemn it, but when they cheat themselves, they can't help but feel comfortable. In short, the plugin is on our side now. Before the harmonization, try to use it more, Huo Wu said. Her words made everyone's mouth twitch. You have to know that everyone present, even Yechen, has come from the wild. Only Huo Wu can be regarded as a serious old-fashioned god. But now she said such words. Don't look at me like that, I'm just a little woman, I don't have such a righteous attitude. Huo Wu laughed and resolved the embarrassment. Yechen went online again, it was already 9 o'clock in the evening. Glancing at the attribute panel, I found that the basics were still there, physical attack power, points, this proves that the burst is still there. Sweat, how can it be harmonized so quickly? Yechen smiled bitterly, and patted his forehead with some anxiety. George, in the United States, the sin value has reached 390,000 points, it must have attracted complaints a long time ago. Since there has been no harmony for so long, it must not be a simple matter. The official directly cleared the effect of the hell suit, which was naturally very simple, that is, just changing a string of data in the background. But if this is really done, it would be unfair to Yechen, George, King, and others. Because they did not really cheat, but obtained the sin suit by strength, and the only thing to blame is the loopholes in the game design itself. Cheating is definitely a sin, and we will ban them if we catch them. Of course, Dream World is a holographic intelligent online game, and it is almost impossible to be invaded in the background. And now, the abnormal effect of the hell suit is fermenting, which is not the fault of the players, but the mistake of the game planner. If we really want harmony, we must also consider the mood of Yechen and others. To some extent, Yechen and others are still the discoverers of bugs. So, this matter is really not that simple. It can be imagined that the planners are already busy and anxious to rush out a new set of Sinsuit. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 355. This type of equipment-induced bugs also appeared in the past life, and they were basically harmonized. Yechen fell into memories. As for the time of harmonization, the official was quite efficient, and basically controlled it within 2 weeks. No matter what, it doesn't matter when it is harmonized. The key is that during this period, I want to do more things. Yechen smiled. The most important thing at the moment was to continue killing enemies, gain merits, and be promoted to lieutenant colonel. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Qingliu Town. The heavy snow continued until now, making the whole town covered with a layer of snow white. Yechen rushed past with the blood blade, and the blood splashed from the blood blade dyed the snow red. Yechen! It's Yechen, run! The players who stayed in the town saw Yechen's figure, and they screamed in fear and fled in all directions. It was as if Yechen was such a terrible monster. Seeing the enemy player leave, Yechen was too lazy to chase him. With this time, he might as well kill a few more NPCs and capture Qingliu Town as soon as possible. Capturing a small town is about 3,000 to 5,000 merits, which is not slower than killing players. What's more, you can get a pass fee by capturing a town. At this time, Yechen found a player in front of him, moving towards him stealthily. The player blended into the shadows, which was obviously stealth, but Yechen had a costume, goblin miracle detection glasses, which made all invisibility and camouflage invalid. Hee. Yechen sneered, and just as he was about to rush over to kill the man, he suddenly caught a glimpse of the man's face, and his heart was dazed. Stealing a chicken but losing the rice, ID. Race, human. Profession, thief. Title, Master Thief. Level 17. HP, 320/320. Skills, Thief, Stealth, Smack, Backstab. Thief God. Yechen was surprised. In his previous life, no one cared about the Thief God's ID, because his ID was too ugly, and it was probably just a random name. The real name is the Thief God's title. Of course, he has not obtained the title of Thief God now, and he is even in a miserable state. He is only level 17, and he is probably killed by someone. He does not have the style and aura of the Thief God in his previous life. Yechen looked at the future Thief God and saw that he was about 18 or 19 years old, the same age as himself. His face was indifferent, without a trace of expression fluctuation. I think he has experienced a lot at this time, and he also deeply understands that this road is difficult to walk, but in the indifference, his eyes are extremely bright. Good eyes. It seems that you are no longer confused, but want to go all the way. Yechen praised slightly, he could fully imagine the difficulty of the road of the thief. It is normal to be confused, because the thief does not know that he will become the thief. In such a situation, people who still have the courage to go on are definitely rare. This guy, can he see me? While Yechen was looking at the thief also looked at him, but saw that he was staring at himself in stealth, and suddenly realized. Instead of retreating, the thief knew that he could not escape even if he ran away, so he might as well steal before he died. System, you were successfully used as a thief by the player stealing a chicken but losing a rice, and lost the red flame dagger *1. As the system prompt sounded in his ears, Yechen only felt a strong wind blowing by his side, and the thief had already stolen the red flame dagger and passed by him. Although the thief did not cause any damage, there would still be an attack judgment. At this moment, the thief entered the attack state and was forced to emerge from stealth. Of course, even if he was still stealth, Yechen could see him. Successful in one go? It seems that his thief level is not low. Oh, yes, he already has the title of Master Thief, look forward to rising. The red flame dagger was lost, and Yechen's hands were empty. He turned his head and looked at the back of the fleeing thief god, smiling slightly. Immediately, Yechen rushed out, and at an absolutely overwhelming speed, he instantly caught up with the thief god, and then turned sharply and blocked the ladder. Kill if you want to kill me, I'll give you a piece of advice, my thief has only a 4-second CD. If you want to play tricks on me, you'd better think about it first, be careful that I will steal you and only leave you with a pair of pants. Seeing Yechen blocking the way, the thief god spread his hands and sneered. In such a situation, he dared to threaten Yechen. Oh, really? I want to see who of us will be naked first. Yechen grinned, and Xiao He beside him also grinned, and then stole at the same time. Intermediate mental stimulation potion. During this time, Yechen knocked off a bottle of potion, and the CD of the thief became 3.5 seconds, which was faster than the thief. And he and Xiao He were stealing at the same time. With a clang, a green dagger in the hand of the thief fell to the ground, and the thief was stunned, because at the same time, his white top was also stolen by Yechen. Is this guy also a thief? And his thief can steal one piece of equipment and make another piece of equipment fall to the ground, the thief was surprised. After a few seconds, the surprise in the thief's eyes became bigger and bigger. He found that Yechen's thief was not inferior to him at all, and the CD was shorter. More importantly, he stole one piece of equipment from Yechen, and Yechen stole two of his equipment in a short time. A few minutes later, the thief was naked, with only a white underwear left. When the cold wind blew, the thief couldn't help shivering on the snow. At this moment, he was beyond shocked. In these few minutes, he stole countless top-notch equipment from Yechen: red flame dagger, poisonous bracelet, storm necklace, sacred torch, black leather coat, and even snake wings, lightweight running shoes, goblin miracle detection glasses. However, almost as soon as he got it, Yechen would steal it back in the blink of an eye. I want to see which one of us takes off our pants first. Suddenly, the thief god recalled what Yechen said before. He didn't take it seriously at first, but now it suddenly dawned on him that he lost because he was the one who took off his pants first. Except for the thief, he had nothing to offer. Even so, he still lost to others as a thief, and he was completely defeated. Obviously he should be disappointed, desperate, or even decadent, but the thief god was extremely excited, his eyes flashed with a fanatical light, and 2 lines of tears fell down his face like a bursting dam. No one knew how hard his gaming career was, but he gritted his teeth and didn't give up. All this time, he couldn't see any hope, until now, Yechen appeared in front of him. Nowadays, Yechen's deeds have shocked the whole country, causing over 1 million injuries and killing the king instantly. The god of thieves had no idea that such a high-level thief could exist in such an existence. For a moment, the thief god looked at Yechen as if he saw a guiding light. Along the way, the skill of thief has helped me a lot. It involves the hidden mission of changing jobs as an assassin. The first holy weapon, the second holy weapon, there are too many. Seeing the god of thieves stop, Yechen also stopped and said with a smile, "You are already a very good thief now, I think you should stick to it. Maybe, I just have better luck than you for a moment." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 356. September. At the beginning of the school year, the God of Thieves received the biggest bad news in his life. His dependent sister was hit by a motorcycle and fell into a pool of blood. The God of Thieves resolutely gave up school and worked part-time to raise medical expenses. But that meager salary was not enough. When he was desperate many times, he sneaked into a high-end entertainment venue and stole a noble lady. Searched Can on Google. The result was a failure and a beating. It wasn't over yet. The security called the police. Under the accusations of many witnesses, the thief was forced to stay in jail with a bruised face and a bruised face. Please, my sister is still undergoing surgery. If I go to jail, her future will be ruined. Before being taken away by the police, the thief god knelt in front of the lady, heartbroken and crying sadly. At that time, the God of Thieves had just come out of school. He had fresh black hair, a white shirt, and jeans. Even though his nose and face were bruised and swollen after being beaten, he couldn't resist his bookish look. The ladies, onlookers, and even the police present could not help but be stunned. It is said that noble people are hard to find, and the God of Thieves is also lucky. In the most difficult times, he meets noble people to help him. He had only been squatting in the cell for 3 days before the lady bailed him out. Saving one life is better than building a 7-level pagoda. What's more, I changed the future of 2 young people at once. The woman's smile made thief god's sinful soul seem to have been redeemed. When the woman left, she left 10,000 yuan. The thief god shouted at her back, thank you, I will definitely repay you twice as much. Okay, Sun Yang, your case is not serious, and you have the guarantee of the person involved, you can be released from prison. I hope you will find your way back. Sai the criminal policeman talked for a long time, but he couldn't go on. No one is a saint. The God of Thieves, Sun Yang, experienced something like this. As a people's policeman, he really didn't know how to comfort him. 10,000 yuan is a solution to an urgent need. In the next half-month, Sun Yang was honest, but the large amount of medical expenses was still a problem. Without any solution, all Sun Yang's dignity and pride disappeared. One night, he repeated his old tricks. On the street, a slightly fat young man about 25 years old came over. He was holding a box in his hand and looked very precious. I hope it's really valuable. I'm sorry, fat brother, I need life-saving money. Sun Yang muttered silently in a dark corner and suddenly ran out. I felt a black shadow flash past, and the fat brother's hand was empty, and he screamed like a slaughtering pig, my gaming helmet. I've been queuing up all day and all night, how easy is it for me? That's right, that day happened to be the day before the server of Dream World was launched. Major stores selling gaming helmets have already been crowded. When Yuchen asked Fatty to borrow money to buy a helmet, it was already 3 days after the game was launched, and the situation was completely different. Fat brother has not given up. Money is a trivial matter. How can he realize this after queuing all day and night? He chased desperately, but the more he chased, the more precious the box in Sun Yang felt, and he bumped and fell several times along the way. I only had 10 yuan left in my pocket, which I also used to take a taxi. After arriving home safely, Sun Yang opened the box with great expectations, but was stunned for a moment. The idea of stealing a chicken but losing a lot of rice also comes from this, although it is not that appropriate. After being in a daze for a day, Sun Yang resolutely entered the game. In today's era, with the development of science and technology, people's living standards are rising rapidly, and they are pursuing entertainment and enjoyment. The legendary professional player seemed to be a representative of high income, and Sun Yang was also attracted by it. But after actually getting into the game, he discovered that making money in the game was not as easy as he imagined. He did not become a so-called professional player just by playing games with a helmet. He is quite talented at playing games. At the end of the day, he is self-sufficient, which can at least satisfy his hunger. However, the medical expenses for my sister Sun Xiaoli are far from enough. The plot begins when Sun Yang steals a purple outfit from a certain boss, and takes a turn. The purple suit he stole at that time was a top-quality giant shield. After selling it for cash, Sun Yang got more than 4,000 yuan in one go. In despair, he seemed to see a glimmer of hope, and he was out of control from then on. With bumps and bumps along the way, he would always take advantage of everyone's annoyance, and he was already notorious throughout the dark camp. He even encountered large forces and guarded him several times. More than 3 months have passed, and until he met Yuchen now, he was only at level 17. At level 17, he is in the main city of LV4. It is conceivable that his toughness has been honed and his skills have also improved. Unfortunately, after more than 3 months of treatment, although his sister Sun Xiaoli's broken legs were recovered, he was unable to deal with the large amount of money required for subsequent rehabilitation and even the security of their future lives. In reality, he was stealing and squatting, and his own circle had collapsed. He was like a rat crossing the street, being criticized by everyone. In the game, he is notorious and is hostile to all players in the dark camp. Those thin shoulders seemed a little unable to bear it. Because he can't see the light, he can't see the hope. After all, he only looks strong and indifferent on the surface, and his inner struggle and hesitation cannot be explained to outsiders. Until I think you should stick with it. Maybe, I just have better luck than you for a while. Ye Chen's simple words once again ignited the faint flame in Sun Yang's heart. To Sun Yang, Ye Chen was also a noble person. The woman solved his urgent problem, which was a life-saving favor. Ye Chen did nothing, but it seemed to wake him up, like a bowl, helping him to open up the light of hope. On the other side, when Sun Yang's 2 lines of tears fell like heavy brushes, Ye Chen was silent for a while. After all, he was not on the road of stealing gods. The reason why thieves are powerful is entirely because of their own strength and hard-earned skill points. Later, stealing Suanwu and gaining a lot of proficiency was also considered luck. Not the person involved, naturally can't understand the feelings of the person involved. But men don't shed tears easily. Although Ye Chen didn't know, he could imagine the hardships of Sun Yang's road. There is no right or wrong in the game, the strong are respected. At that time, I stole the first holy weapon among the billions of soldiers, and was rejected and abused by everyone. Now I have won the camp championship of the martial arts tournament, and will represent the camp to participate in the national competition and even the world competition. They are proud of me. Pain is only temporary, and sin and glory are only a matter of your thoughts. Looking at Sun Yang's fiery eyes looking at him, Ye Chen couldn't help but think of his previous life, the eyes he looked at Huo Wu. In the previous life, when he was in the most difficult time, Huo Wu encouraged him, a level 20 golden dagger, which is still unforgettable. Ye Chen smiled, searched in the equipment column, and took out the shadow bracelet. Maybe, you need it more than me now. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 357. After returning the shadow bracelet and a set of equipment stolen from Sun Yang, Ye Chen walked away slowly, leaving only a majestic back. Next, Ye Chen continued to slaughter in Qingliu town. After killing all the NPCs in the town, with a bang, a huge crystal emerged from the center of the town. Ye Chen rushed back and easily smashed the crystal. The broken crystals were reassembled and engraved with Ye Chen's ID. For a while, Qingliu town was refreshed as before. So far, Ye Chen captured Qingliu town, triggered the main city broadcast, and his merit increased by 4,500 points. Yachen smiled slightly and continued his journey. In a flash, more than 2 hours passed. System, your merit has reached 500,000 points, and you have been promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. Yachen was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, and the daily military rank gift package was refreshed immediately. When he clicked it, there were a total of 5 reconnaissance devices and 5 teleporters. At the same time, his major medal fluctuated and changed to a Lieutenant Colonel medal. Lieutenant Colonel medal, gold quality. Level 1. Strength add 90. Physical strength add 90. Intelligence add 90. Spirit add 90. Agility add 45. Special effect, 15% off in any store of the light camp. Additional skills, LV2 fighting spirit. Next, it seems that we can open up the land of Zhihaixia. Hey, wait. Yachen smiled slightly, and suddenly froze, thinking about how he had completed the hidden task with 10,000 sins and got the powerful title of Abyss Demon. Now 50,000, 100,000, and 150,000 sins have been reached, but the hidden task has not been triggered. Yachen checked the sin value, points. The thief has the title of the thief god, will the sin have the title of the killer god? Yachen pondered secretly, since it was 190,000 sins, he wanted to get 200,000 first, maybe there would be a hidden task. Do it as soon as you think of it. Yachen rushed out again. It was early morning. System, through the daily tasks issued to believers, a total of fire energy points have been recovered. System, your fire energy exceeds 10 million points and you are promoted to an intermediate preacher of Oz. System, congratulations on your promotion to an intermediate preacher of Ounce. The attributes of the low-level preacher are cancelled, and the following attributes are improved: add 500 fire strength, add 1500 fire resistance. Skill Flame Him *1. Flame Him, LV1 instant, increase the fire strength of yourself and your followers by 10 points and fire resistance by 100 points. Duration, 60 seconds, CD, 60 seconds. Note, this skill can be upgraded. Night God, ID. Race, human. Profession, assassin. Title, good man, perceiver, hidden weapon master, abyss demon, thief. Level, 45. HP, 9810/9810. MP, 6280/6280. Strength, 1760. Agility, 540. Asterisk physical attack, 40,000 of which is the basis for the conversion of sin value. Asterisk fire attribute enhancement, 680, 130 of which is the passive skill of Fire Phoenix, blessing of the god of fire. Recognition, 998. Asterisk perception, 2. Attack speed add 30%. Movement speed add 52%. Skills, LV15 stun, LV17 stab, LV16 thief, LV12 unlock, stealth, sprint, LV14 throat slitting, LV16 bleeding, LV14 wind step, LV11 spin stab, LV11 untrap trap. Rare skills, LV14 bleeding, LV17 hidden weapon mastery, LV13 shadow attack, LV11 stun dart, shadow escape, LV9 boomerang, blood blade, shadow thorn, flying thunder god. Additional skills for equipment: goodwill aura, poison mist, war cry, flying, fighting spirit. Special skills: low-level life potion, LV8 poisoning, LV10 forging, blood eyes, LV10 martial arts breaking, LV5 advanced dart making drawings, LV9 power attack, team teleport, self-recovery, resurrection, hand of hell, fire him. Assassin skill tree, final blow, LV9 murderous aura, LV6 killing mark. Talent, firm will, passive. Strong. Too strong, It's simply explosive. Ye Chen glanced at his attribute panel with ecstasy in his eyes. Now his fire strength has been increased again, and the damage is explosive. Even if the hell suit is harmonized by then, his damage will still be the best in the Chinese theater. Of course, the hell suit is not yet harmonized, so it is naturally more terrifying. Just as he was about to do something, a wave of vibration came from the earring on his left ear, which was obviously darker in color. Immediately, a whirlwind of flames appeared in front of Ye Chen. The whirlwind of flames dissipated in an instant, and a sturdy figure appeared. The man had fiery red hair that seemed to be about to burn, wore bright red armor, and carried a large sword made of flames on his shoulders. The domineering and terrifying flame energy seemed to be able to flatten the wild area where Ye Chen was in an instant. Fire Dragon, the high-level preacher of Oz, the Holy Land. With a snort, Fire Dragon took down the flaming sword and placed it on Ye Chen's shoulder, pressing against the latter's throat. The manic flame energy continued to burn the fragile skin of Ye Chen's neck, and it even burned white smoke, which made Ye Chen extremely uncomfortable. He clenched his hands, and a murderous look flashed in his eyes. Good eyes. The fire dragon stared at Ye Chen with a pair of flaming eyes and said, I strictly control the thousands of believers under my command. If any of them are promoted to preachers, I will teleport them to kill them. Only you are an exception. I never thought that the kid who could not reach the threshold of my believers in the past has become a mid-level preacher in the blink of an eye. What a narrow-minded guy. Ye Chen's face was cold. As a preacher, if one of his believers was promoted to preacher, he would be overjoyed. However, the fire dragon is completely different, like a god. Looking down on all living beings, using the faith of all living beings to increase his own strength. If anyone tries to become a god, he will be punished by God. Let alone the gods, they are the masters of the world, and all rules are made by them. And the fire dragon is just a preacher, but he wants to imitate it. It's really ridiculous and hateful. From the beginning, Ye Chen wanted to kill the fire dragon, and now it's even stronger. Compared to when he was just a believer of Oz, Ye Chen's strength has increased exponentially. Before the Sin suit was harmonized, he could easily deal 500,000 or 600,000 damage with one strike. If he released the finishing move, he could deal at least 10 million damage. Even so, Fire Dragon is a true Saint Domain powerhouse above 80, with more than 10 billion HP. 10 million damage is just a drop in the bucket. On the contrary, if Fire Dragon wants to kill Ye Chen, it only takes a wave of his hand. There is still a chasm between the two sides. Thinking of this, Ye Chen quickly restrained his murderous aura. And his emotional changes were seen by Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon smiled evilly, grabbed the little red bird on Ye Chen's shoulder with his bare hands, and firmly grasped it. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 358. Chirp. Xiao Hong screamed, and in an instant she grew in size and turned into a gorgeous fire phoenix, but she couldn't break free from the fire dragon's giant palm. Oh, you have grown up a lot. But you are still just a golden lord, the fire dragon said coldly. The fire dragon was strong enough to kill the holy beast, and the golden lord had no attraction at all to him. Even though Xiao Hong has the blood of a mythical beast. Boy, I still won't kill you. A cat plays with a mouse, raises it and eats it. Of course, it won't eat you, but your fire phoenix. The fire dragon smiled wantonly, lowered his head and got close to the fire phoenix in his hand. He took a deep sniff and felt the pure and majestic flame energy. There was a sickly evil look on his face, greedy and twisted. Such a powerful and pure flame energy, is this the bloodline of the divine beast? It's so addictive. Boy, once this fire phoenix evolves into a holy beast, I will take action. The holy beast of the ancient divine beast's bloodline is enough. Hearing this, Ye Chen was greatly shocked. You know, Xiaohong has grown up to this point and may evolve at any time. If Yechen and Xiaohong reach level 80 together and reach the Holy Realm, they may have the power to fight the Fire Dragon. But be afraid, Xiaohong will evolve before level 80. In that case, they will not be able to defeat the Fire Dragon at all. Huh, bastard. Now that things have happened, do you think I'm a fool? How can you not feel resentment in your heart when I treat you like this? I'm afraid you want to kill me and then go away quickly, right? The Fire Dragon laughed wildly and said, indeed, I very much hope that the Fire Phoenix will become a divine beast, and then I will kill and absorb its majestic fire energy. However, when that time comes, I'm afraid the positions will change. You are a cat, and I am a mouse. In this case, I have to reluctantly decide to kill the Fire Phoenix in the Holy Beast stage. Hearing this, Yechen narrowed his eyes. It turned out that this guy, Fire Dragon, had already thought this way. When he was at a loss, Yechen had to make a final inducement. The bloodline of a divine beast can only be perfectly developed by evolving into a divine beast. If it is just a sacred beast, don't you think it's a pity? Humph, now that things have happened, you still can't wake up. In response, the Fire Dragon just sneered, grabbed a ball of flame with his bare hands and covered the little red beak. In an instant, a silver ring was buckled on the latter's slender and elegant mouth. In short, I came to you not to discuss with you, but simply to explain the situation. The Fire Dragon smiled wantonly, shook the Fire Phoenix away, pointed to the ring on its thin beak and said, "This is the conductor I planted. With it, I will know immediately if the Fire Phoenix evolves into a holy beast. Haha, I will naturally come to harvest when the time comes." The ring is similar to the rings that young couples wear to prove their love in reality. It is bright silver and very gorgeous. However, it is like a seal or shackles on the mouth, which is unbearable and humiliating. Xiaohong was no exception. She forgot her fear for a moment and started attacking the Fire Dragon crazily. Continuous fireballs. Raging flames. Burn it down. A series of attacks were launched, and then the Fire Dragon just blocked it with his bare hands, and only a few -1 damage drifted above his head. This means that Xiaohong was unable to break through the Fire Dragon's defense, so he only had to deduct 1 point of blood forcibly. Haha, you look very energetic, the Fire Dragon sneered, not angry. What he wants to kill is the sacred beast Fire Phoenix, not the current Golden Lord. Boy, you're lucky. I won't absorb your fire energy anymore. But, when the Fire Phoenix becomes a holy beast, when I kill it, I will kill you too. Before that, just dance to your heart's content. The Fire Dragon's voice became more and more ethereal until it disappeared, and its person also lost his figure. Since being promoted to Intermediate Evangelist, Yuchen's daily tasks have changed and he needs to contribute 20,000 fire energy to us every day. If you cannot complete the daily tasks, you will automatically be demoted to a low-level evangelist. On this basis, if Yuchen meets 100 million ignition energy, he can be promoted to a senior evangelist. Contributing 20,000 fire energy per day is not a small amount. Yechen originally thought that the Fire Dragon would absorb an additional 10,000 fire energy per day on this basis. Unexpectedly, the Fire Dragon gave up, which surprised Yechen. But it is by no means overjoyed. Because Yuchen and Huolong are both evangelists, but at different levels. Yuchen is not a believer of Fire Dragon and has no obligation to surrender fire energy to Fire Dragon. There is no reason for others to oppress you, and then suddenly you feel better and no longer oppressed, but you have to be grateful to them. Now that the two sides have completely broken up with each other, Yechen no longer needs to continue to be conciliatory. Instead, he has a clear mind. Although I feel relieved, the threat still exists. Once Xiaohong evolves, he will definitely become a holy beast, and then we will usher in the end. Yuchen smiled bitterly. He knew very well that when that time came, it would not be as simple as dropping 1 or 2 levels. After all, he is a player, and even if he is killed, he will be demoted at the cost of infinite resurrection. When the time comes, the fire dragon discovers that he is not dead, and will definitely continue to hunt. The fire dragon is a powerful person in the Holy Realm. Even in the main city, he may be able to kill people wantonly. For a while, Yuchen couldn't think of a good way to solve it, so he could only take one step at a time. The boat will naturally go straight when it reaches the bridge. Yuchen was convinced of this. But the anger in his heart could not be released. Yuchen felt uncomfortable all over, roared loudly, and continued his killing journey. Another hour passed, and Yuchen's sin value finally reached 200,000 points, and the long-lost system prompt finally sounded. System, congratulations on completing the hidden task Source of Sin, and get rewards, 65 million experience points, 70 gold coins, and the title of Source of Sin *1. This task is still not the only hidden task, so it failed to trigger the broadcast. As in the past, when the title of Source of Sin was obtained, the title of Abyss Demon disappeared. Source of Sin, Gold Quality. Level 1. HP limit add 1000. Strength add 150. Physical strength add 150. Intelligence add 100. Spirit add 100. Agility add 50. Special effect, after killing the target, HP add 50%. Special effect, summon the gate of hell. Yamaro left a message, very good, you have risen another step. Tisk tisk, the Source of Sin is more powerful than the Abyss Demon. Yuchen smiled slightly and transferred to Zhaihasia. Island number 4, that is, Fire Lion Island. There is an ordinary base in the throne here, and Yuchen was teleported here. When he walked out of the base, he saw Huowu and other believers slaying fire lions. Boss, the boss is here. When the believers saw Yuchen, they immediately put down their work and greeted him respectfully. Yuchen nodded, indicating that he had been promoted to an intermediate preacher, and the next advanced preacher would require 100 million ignition energy. This cannot be done in a short time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 359. It's okay, boss. Flame lions give a lot of experience. Yeah, you only need 100 million fire energy to be promoted to a senior preacher. According to our progress, it will take at most 1 month. Yuchen just expressed his gratitude and apology, and everyone laughed and agreed, saying that it didn't matter. Anyway, there was a lot of experience here, and the rate of green equipment explosion was very high. At this stage, although green equipment is not valuable, if the quantity is large, the profit is still good. Google searched can. Aside, Huowu pondered for a moment and said, now there are 300 believers, almost all of them are fire mages, and they are all elite members. They are the most powerful part of the throne. But now you have broken 1 million damage, it seems that you don't need this combat power. Hearing this, Yuchen also nodded. These 300 believers are indeed the core combat power, but now, before the harmony of the Hell suit, he really doesn't need this help. Okay, since you don't mind, continue to brush fire energy here. Yuchen chuckled, and found 200 fire mages in the guild and recruited them as believers. That's right, a mid-level preacher has a maximum of 500 followers. Great, now there are more people. In 20 days at most, we can all push you to a high-level preacher. Huowu smiled, thinking that at that time, even if the Hell suit was harmonious, Yuchen's combat power would still be the best. Yuchen nodded, and he was naturally happy about it. With the threat of the fire dragon, he couldn't relax at all, Xiaohong is not like the blood tree. The evolution of the blood tree needs to break through a certain bottleneck, and Xiaohong is a juvenile pet, and it can really evolve at any time. And the time for pet evolution is unpredictable. In the past, Ye Chen hoped that Xiaohong would evolve quickly, but now, it is completely the opposite, hoping that Xiaohong will hold back for a while, but this is not practical. When it's time to evolve, Xiaohong can't resist. During this period, the only thing Ye Chen can do is to increase his strength as much as possible. High-level preacher is one of them. Becoming a high-level preacher like Fire Dragon, then Ye Chen is no less powerful than Fire Dragon in terms of basic fire strength and basic fire resistance. But this is far from enough. Level, skills, equipment, means, these are all crucial. Because time is unpredictable, Ye Chen can only take one step at a time. Roar. At this moment, a roar suddenly sounded, interrupting Ye Chen, who was in deep thought. Wow, the Lord Boss has refreshed. 1.48 million HP, it's really not covered. The believers were startled, looking at the giant lion in front of them nervously and excitedly. Although Ye Chen was here, it gave them a lot of confidence, but Ye Chen was powerful, and if they were slightly touched by the red flame lion, they would definitely die. At this time, Ye Chen also found the red flame lion, and saw the red flame lion rushing over with scorching air waves and powerful pressure. Stun. Dash. Ye Chen sneered, rushed forward and hit him with a stick, which caused explosive damage. The red flame lion general only lasted for a second, and fell to the ground in front of everyone's extremely shocked eyes, stirring up a pile of dust. Hiss. A stun club caused 1.8 million damage, killing the national boss in seconds. This is simply a joke. This plugin is a bit too powerful. 6 explosions. Everyone was terrified, and it turned out that the rumors were true. Ye Chen's damage exceeded 1 million, and it seemed that there was more than that. They knew that Ye Chen also had a powerful finishing move. Just a stun club was 1.8 million. How much damage would the finishing move have? I'm afraid it would exceed 10 million. You know, Zhihaixia is a national map. At this stage, the only team that dares to come here to open up the wasteland is the team with the king. It is conceivable that this map is difficult. Among them, the national lord is the main force of the map, but Ye Chen's stun club killed the national boss in seconds, instantly refreshing their 3 views. It can't be stronger. On the side, Huowu was also extremely shocked. With such damage, Ye Chen was definitely the king of the sea. The entire Zhihaixia was probably hard to beat. The red flame lion fell to the ground and died. Although it was not the first kill, it also exploded several purple equipment. The believers were overjoyed, because Ye Chen looked down on these purple equipment, so they were divided among them. Ye Chen glanced at the spoils, but did not see the low-level diamond, and immediately lost interest. Fire Song. Suddenly, Ye Chen opened a group buff, making himself and his believers emit a layer of faint flames. Fire Song, LV1 instant, making himself and all his believers, fire strength add 10 points, fire resistance add 100 points, duration, 60 seconds CD, 60 seconds. 10 points, 100 points of fire resistance. To be honest, this attribute is a bit dispensable for Ye Chen. But for these believers, it is a great increase. More importantly, the duration of this skill is seamlessly connected to the CD, and it can be released infinitely. Moreover, this skill can be upgraded. The higher the level, the stronger the effect. This skill is good. No matter where I am, as long as I release it, the believers will be amplified. Ye Chen smiled with satisfaction. He was going to release it in a loop and practice the skill. Anyway, the duration and CD are seamlessly connected. At most, it consumes a little MP, but the group buff is powerful. Boss, go conquer Zhihaixia. Brother, Zhihaixia is huge, right? It should be the first stage of conquest. Yes. The first stage of conquering Zhihaixia. Amid the excited urging of everyone, Ye Chen nodded goodbye and teleported to the ship-shaped base. Pulling open the map and confirming the coordinates, Ye Chen found that his ship-shaped base was parked in the waters near island number 47. There was no one in the entire base. Ye Chen stood on the deck of the huge ship-shaped base, looking down from a high position, and saw 3 large ships in front of him pulling the ship-shaped base with ropes. The one in the middle was naturally the Goblin Miracle, an advanced ship. There were still many people waiting on the 3 large ships. Ye Chen jumped down and came to the deck of the Goblin Miracle, looking at everyone. "Boss, you are finally here. We have already marched to the last few small islands of the first stage of Zhihaixia. Tank Boss has brought people into island No 47, someone immediately reported the situation. Okay, you guys go straight to island 48, and leave the rest to me." Ye Chen smiled, rolled down from the Goblin Miracle, started the wind step, and charged into island 47. Everyone heard what Ye Chen said, looked at Ye Chen's back, and suddenly felt a strong sense of pride. The fact that Ye Chen had just killed the Red Flame Lion with a club had spread through the Throne Guild channel, and all members knew about it. With such a powerful force joining in, the last few islands in the first stage of Zhihaixia must be easy to capture. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 360. Island number 47. The center is a muddy swamp. Tank led thousands of troops and stood in the mud, and his movement speed was greatly reduced. The national lord of the island is a huge monster made up of countless muds. Dis Swamp King, National Lord. Level 49. HP, / Skills, Swamp Domain, Mud Bomb, Heavy Pressure, Devouring, Liquefaction. Dis Swamp King is in the center of the swamp. I think this swamp was created by him. Tank and others stood in the swamp and looked at Dis Swamp King sternly. On the other side, there was a team of about 300 people. The leader, wearing a white windbreaker, stirred up the green fighting spirit under his body, stirring up all the dirty black mud and black water under his feet. It made him walk on flat ground in the swamp, and he was not stained by the mud. This was the effect of fighting spirit, ignoring the swamp domain of Dis Swamp King. He held a musket in each hand, with a cold face. He was not a musketeer, but a double gun shooter. He was none other than the neutral camp, the king of the Merchant Alliance, who shot blood. It seemed that he was the only one in the entire battlefield who could move flexibly in the swamp. He pulled the trigger with both hands rhythmically, shooting bullets containing green fighting spirit, constantly causing no low damage to the Swamp King. The Swamp King was attracted by hatred, took a deep breath, and his already huge body expanded by twice again, and then shot out countless mud bombs. There were so many mud bombs that they were like shotguns. Several shield warriors of the blood shooting team shouted and rushed forward to plow the mud and use the iron wall to resist. Bang bang bang. Countless mud bombs hit the iron wall and exploded, but did not hurt the shield warriors, not to mention the team behind the shield warriors. Huh. The Swamp King was enraged, and his huge body actually bounced up in the swamp and rushed towards the blood-shooting team. The mud swamp was created by it, so it would naturally not be affected. Heavy Sniper. However, just as it approached Yi Gun Spike Blood, the latter combined its 2 guns and fired a black light ball with a bang. The light ball hit the body of the Swamp King, generating a strong impact force, knocking the Swamp King out, splashing a lot of black water and black mud along the way. The Swamp King could not get close, and the only long-range means, the mud bomb, was also resisted. For a while, he was helpless and jumped around in the swamp in anger. Yi Gun Spike Blood output for a while. Seeing that the HP of the Swamp King dropped below 1 million, it suddenly stopped. Swish. The quality of the Spike Blood team is very high. Seeing the boss stop, they actually stopped in unison. Tank was stunned. The Spike Blood team stopped, but he was still bombarding. In an instant, the attack came down, and the HP of the Swamp King dropped again. At this time, Tank suddenly had a bad premonition. Sure enough, the Swamp King roared, as if attracted by hatred, jumping wildly and rushing over. Heavy pressure. The huge body of the Swamp King smashed down, not only splashing black mud and black water, but also jumping into the sea of people, crushing dozens of people to death in one wave. Berserkers, savagely charge, knock it out. The Swamp King crushed and killed dozens of people in seconds. This skill actually had no cooldown, or the cooldown time was extremely low. The Swamp King released it repeatedly, and soon killed hundreds of people in a row. Tank was startled and roared. Hearing this, a team of berserkers rushed out suddenly, but the power of the savage charge was reduced in the swamp, and the speed was also slowed down. When they hit the Swamp King, it was so light. The Swamp King was not only shaken a few times, but also stabilized, and did not move a single step. Devour. The body of the Swamp King is made of mud, and there are no rules to speak of. In an instant, it opened its big mouth. The bloody mouth was even bigger than the body behind it. It suddenly sucked and swallowed the surrounding berserkers in one wave, and burped very humanely. Several tens of thousands of damage came out of the abdomen. Those berserkers were swallowed and killed instantly. However, the skill of swallowing is only a precondition now. After the Swamp King swallowed a wave of people, its body turned into a ball of illusory black light, and its body began to split. The small balls of black light jumped into the swamp like after images and turned into small black mud monsters. Black mud monster, normal. Level 48. HP, / Skills, mud bomb, heavy pressure. The small size of the black mud monster is only relative to the Swamp King. The Swamp King is about 15 yards tall, and these black mud monsters are about 2 yards in size, which is not small compared to the players. The Swamp King split into hundreds of black mud monsters, which appeared right in the center of Tank and others. The black mud monsters bounced up and scattered, either with mud bombs or heavy pressure, making the entire army a mess. The formation collapsed, and it was in a mess. On the other side, Yukiyoung spurted blood and laughed coldly, and the rear team was also like watching a show, laughing wildly and pointing. I don't know where they built a ship-shaped base on the throne, which can make all the guild members participate in the war anytime and anywhere. But they are a group of rabble, facing the national lord, they are useless. Haha, that's right, as soon as we stopped, they were helpless. Okay, in terms of numbers alone, we really can't compare with them. Use the boss to deal with them, and when it's almost time, we will kill them and the boss together. Everyone laughed loudly, and he waved his hand with blood spurting out of his gun, signaling everyone to stop and continue watching. At this time, the Swamp King completed the split and attacked again. It was also under heavy pressure, killing dozens of people in one wave, plus the output of the black mud monster. In just half a minute, Tank led the army and lost half of his life, which was extremely painful. Big Fried Chicken, it depends on you. Octopus Brother, throw the Swamp King out. The Berserker's brutal collision was ineffective, and Tank and everyone put their last hope on Big Fried Chicken. Big Fried Chicken is a hidden profession tamer. This profession is very powerful, with the help of Dujula's inherited sacred artifact the Imperial Spirit Belt. Big Fried Chicken can summon one more pet than an ordinary tamer. But these small advantages are not worth mentioning for Big Fried Chicken, who now has the Octopus King as a pet. One step to the king. At this stage, Big Fried Chicken can be said to be the first combat power under the king with the help of the Octopus King. At this time, when the army is in trouble, Big Fried Chicken must also carry the banner. The Octopus King is very huge, more than 5 times the size of the Swamp King. Being in the swamp, The Octopus King cannot move flexibly, but its tentacles are not restricted by the swamp. For a moment, multiple tentacles shot out at the same time, tightly wrapping the Swamp King, attracting cheers from the army. However, Yukiong Pyoxu and others sneered.